Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
The star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
She was, as woke as they are.
She just sounds bitter and angry.
As ticket sales plummet more quickly than the evil queen falls off a cliff, Rachel Zegler's Snow White is beginning to resemble a cursed apple that no one wants to eat. While working, Zegler isn't actually whistling. Zegler's career is officially over, and she is losing it as the backlash reaches a fever pitch. The month's biggest box office failure. Do you recall when Rachel Zegler pretended to have a magic wand that could actually make people wait in line to see Snow White? Zegler doesn't have any powers, and her most recent box office failure isn't drawing any attention. With Snow White struggling right out of the gate and earning a dismal $43 million domestically, the atmosphere at Disney this week was anything but magical. The fairy tale disaster performed far worse internationally as well, coming in at a chilly $87.3 million instead of the projected $100 million. That's how a historical blunder is made, and just when Disney executives thought things couldn't get any worse, new data showed an even more dire situation. According to Comscore, the worldwide total barely made it to $86,100,000, while the domestic opening dropped even further to $42,200,000. Normally, a film targeted at female audiences wouldn't be completely destroyed by numbers like these. With a few innovative marketing strategies, you'll be set. With a staggering $270 million production budget and an additional $100 million for marketing, Snow White is headed for major failure. That is a financial mountain. Figure it out. With poor ticket sales and conflicting audience reactions, even a Disney princess might not be able to rise. According to insiders, the movie may not even reach 300 or 400 million copies worldwide. Yes, Disney will not receive a single penny for the majority of the money it spent, and the movie's overall budget is far higher than what the Internet report indicates. It appears that the film will require at least $500 million to break even. Zegler is not assisting her studio in finding a quick solution. As a matter of fact, the actress from West Side Story is simply incapable of avoiding ugly arguments with her fans. Wait until we serve you a cup of that steaming hot tea. You won't believe how trivial the feud is. Since the House of Mouse is the only group capable of pulling off a fairy tale comeback, die-hard Disney fans are naturally still holding on to hope. For example, when Mufasa, the Lion King, debuted to just $35,400,000 domestically, it was dismissed as a failure, only to multiply that by 7 and raise $718 million worldwide in December 2024. Nobody from the Mufasa cast was skulking around like a loose cannon, let's face it. Disney was in charge of the public relations image, and they most definitely didn't have an opportunity with a young actress of 23 who is unable to understand the clear message that she is done. Rachel Zegler lost her job. Mirror on the wall, of all of them, who is the most interchangeable? Rachel Zegler may not be pleased with the response if the most recent rumors in Hollywood are to be believed. Rumor has it that Disney quietly showed her the castle gates before severing their relationship. It appears from Snow White's terrible reception that there was no happily ever after in all the criticism she leveled at the first movie. This is the true battle. Forget about Snow White and the evil queen. Nobody anticipated that a young, talented actress who had previously won a Golden Globe for her outstanding performance in West Side Story would force a billion-dollar media conglomerate into the trenches. Zegler, however, is evidence that even if you were the next big thing in the industry and Disney's worst nightmare, one major blunder could send you to the forgotten list of nobodies. Given that controversy has followed Zegler like the curse of an evil queen ever since she was cast, it now appears that she will be unemployed for a very long time. Disney's choice to use a Latina actress for the part was already being criticized by fans, but Zegler's strongly held opinions about the original movie only served to stoke the flames. She referred to the traditional plot as strange, called the prince a stalker, and made it abundantly evident that her Snow White was too self-reliant to be rescued by a lustful royal. In a since-deleted post, Zegler went even further, responding to critics with the words, "Yes, I am Snow White. No, I am not bleaching my skin for the role." Even though that post is no longer there, the criticism has already been decided. Page 6 reports that Disney is clueless about how to deal with their unruly leading lady. According to an insider, Rachel has been receiving direct calls from executives begging her to calm down, but it seems that she refuses to follow orders, even from the House of Mouse. Therefore, something had to be done because the situation was dire. In order to meet Zegler, major Disney executives boarded their pricey private jet. They made her aware of the stakes. She needed to follow the script if she wanted the film to succeed and continue to be a somewhat relevant Snow White. According to insiders, Zegler concurred. However, she made the unusual decision to refrain from posting anything on social media that would annoy conservatives, such as the Middle East situation. Weeks later, however, Zegler picked up her phone once more and made the decision to do the exact opposite of what she had consented to. She attacked Trump supporters before retracting her remarks. She fought with the studio during filming, criticizing the script despite having read it before accepting the position, according to insiders who have called her a loose cannon. In plain terms, one source stated that although she has been a nightmare, they are powerless to stop her speech. Disney reportedly even contemplated firing her during the 2022 filming, but it was too late to turn things around. They may now be regretting keeping Snow White on the throne in light of her lackluster box office performance. Despite the drama, there is a widespread misconception that Rachel Zegler has excellent publicity, even though some people think the controversy could boost ticket sales. Since Snow White ultimately outweighs the person wearing the dress, Zegler was among the well-wishers who thought the Snow White fiasco was a scene from a fairy tale film. Unbelievably, the actress was confident that her fame would somehow save the film, and that crowds would gather outside theaters to see her in the role of Snow White. Indeed, it's evident that Zegler has some illusions about how her negative publicity will affect the box office. She perceives the entire controversy as a high school teen drama, unfairly singled out for her opinions and eccentricities for whatever reason. Do we believe Zegler has been unnecessarily dragged around? Her negative publicity hasn't helped anyone, though. Therefore, whatever message she wanted to convey about conquering hate, everyone would watch the film based on her acting and singing abilities. While Snow White barely made it to the top of the weekend box office with poor ticket sales, Zegler is bringing the fairy tale to life, at least on social media. Let's say it was delusional at best. The actress celebrated the alleged victory right away. Zegler proudly announced on social media on Monday, March 24, that she was the world's top-grossing film. She shared a vintage image of herself from a trailer on set, waving happily while dressed like a princess. Nothing says box office success like a pair of emojis, so she added a red apple and snowflake emoji to finish the image. In a technical sense, Zegler was telling the truth. Despite having an outrageous budget of more than $250 million, Snow White outperformed films like Captain America, Brave New World, and Mickey 17. Even the critics weren't entirely thrilled with that #1 title, which now looks more like a participation trophy. The film has received numerous reviews thus far. The general consensus on the internet, however, is to simply read the original Snow White to the children before putting them to bed and calling it a day. No one is truly raving about it. The article Johnny Alinsky calls the movie a forgettable live-action remake that fades from your memory as soon as the credits have rolled, dismissing it as uninteresting and mediocre. As long as Rachel Zegler gets to play the princess, it doesn't matter about the social media feuds, huh? As criticism of Snow White's alleged woke makeover continues to rage, Rachel Zegler is not letting the critics get away with it and is making sure everyone knows it. When a fan questioned the actress's ability to sing, she responded by clapping back. Everything started when Disney shared a glitzy Instagram video from a private castle premiere in Spain where Zegler was performing and waiting for a wish. However, one dissatisfied user swiped at her voice rather than applauding, writing, "No thanks, Disney wasn't so difficult to cast a soprano." "I am a soprano," Zegler retorted in the comments section. Disney Plus is currently streaming West Side Story. 'Cause a brief self-promotion plug is the best way to silence the skeptics. While it's perfectly acceptable to give yourself a quick shout-out or even to defend yourself, Zegler had to get into a heated argument with a fan just a few days prior to Snow White's premiere. Her reputation is in complete ruins right now, so someone really needs to check in on her PR team. But hold on, Rachel Zegler wins this whole dumpster fire. Wherever you think of Snow White, Rachel Zegler is unquestionably the best actress in the part. By fusing that timeless fairy tale charm with a modern, commanding demeanor, she reinvents the adored princess rather than merely imitating Adriana Calot's original performance. This Snow White isn't just sitting around waiting for Prince Charming, she has bigger dreams and a stronger voice. She is still kind, sweet, and full of hope. Now, it's clear that not many people find resonance in this plotline because, after all, what's wrong with falling in love? However, Zegler adhered to the script exactly as it was given to her. Speaking of that voice, Zegler's Broadway caliber pipes are unquestionably the movie's high point. She conveys every note with passion, grace, and strength throughout every musical number from Waiting on a Wish. Her soprano is crystal clear, and she does more than just sing. She gives each lyric the same level of passion that she gives to the part. Her vocals are so beautiful that even people who aren't fans of the film acknowledge this. Even the most critical critics must concede that Zegler's performance is exceptional, despite their disagreements regarding the film's modifications. Despite the fact that magazines like Variety are lauding her performance, critics do wish Zegler hadn't produced so many ops. Regardless of what she does going forward, her fate is sealed. Her reputation is somewhat damaged in the eyes of the public. The reviews are harsh, and IMDb is flooded with complaints about how much people detest seeing her in the movie. In one film, viewers claimed that Zegler behaved as though she were giving a medieval TED Talk. It's unclear how Zegler will bounce back from that. And the backstage of Snow White isn't exactly a fairy tale either. According to some reports, the film's cast allegedly holds Rachel Zegler responsible for the failure of their production. It is now undeniable that Zegler and Gal Gadot are at odds over their political stances. Although they presented together at the 2025 Oscars, there was a noticeable tension between them. Indeed, Disney is no longer able to deceive us. Rumors have it that the company made every effort to meet with the two actors in person to address their issues. Regarding the Middle East situation, however, both parties have chosen sides and don't exactly want to stay best friends, so nobody really wanted to back down from their initial misgivings. Of course, the movie has already received little publicity, but if your lead ladies are fighting, that's a whole other crisis, isn't it? There is no love between Zegler and Gal Gadot, and from their perspective, their working relationship is over. In a March Instagram post on the eve of the movie's release, Zegler referred to the process of making Snow White as a life-changing experience and praised the world's best crew, but she made no mention of Gadot. She wrote that she absolutely fell in love with this group of people I got to work with for 3 magical summers in London, but she didn't specifically name anyone. The problem is that Gadot was conspicuously absent from every picture she shared from the set. So yes, drama is brewing. Zegler is out of business and Snow White is stumbling. Please share your thoughts about this reimagined Snow White remake in the comments section below. This is the next video you should watch if you want more Snow White drama. And Rachel Zegler is the only reason why everyone dislikes the film.